and I'm so privileged and proud that you've put me back in this place. Thank you.
The question is that the address be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Capricornia.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Almost 6 years ago, in December 2013, I had the immense honour of standing up to deliver my maiden speech to the Federal Parliament as a newly elected member for Capricornia. It was a profound moment in my life and also signified a major change for the communities in my electorate. Deputy Speaker, our region was for many years Labor Party stronghold, with no Conservative representative holding this seat for more than a single term since the late 1950s. It is an amazing privilege to be able to return to the Parliament and rise in the new 46th Parliament of Australia, having once again been re-elected for a third term as the region's federal representative. Deputy Speaker, as I reflect on the recent election campaign, the hard work and determination by all of those committed volunteers, friends, family and staff who supported me, I am eternally grateful. I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks to my family, Jessica, Tim and Kirsten, my parents Bill and Gloria Martin, our incredible LNP supporters and volunteers, and all our dedicated booth workers, including my campaign manager Matthew Solly, Treasurer John Rogers and Secretary Julie Murphy. And of course my dedicated staff, Douglas Rogers, Louise Busby, Rebecca Auld, Alana Cook, Christina McNeil, Jack McDougall, Dana Anderson, Kylie Jackson, Nicole Neal, Christopher Lawson, Victoria Mancelli, Anna Howard, Doug Wiley and Lucy Busby. My wonderful staff work tirelessly year after year. Their commitment to our constituents is very caring and very professional. Also, a huge thank you to all of those who financially contributed to my campaign and helped out in any way that they could. I thank my federal parliamentary colleagues and federal cabinet ministers for their unwavering support. Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Deputy Prime Minister Michael McCormack, Member for Maranoa David Littleproud, Member for Dawson George Christensen, Senator Bridget McKenzie, and a special thank you to Senator Matthew Canavan and his team for their unwavering friendship and support. I wish to express my gratitude and appreciation to the quiet Australians who voted for me, the small business owners, the mums and dads, the coal miners, the retirees, people who were genuinely worried about a future under Labor. Deputy Speaker, it was such an honour to serve as the Assistant Minister for Children and Families in the 45th Parliament of Australia, so I'm thrilled to be continuing in that role during this term of government. Since becoming Capricornia's federal MP, I have worked tirelessly to secure major investment in real job-creating infrastructure. We have committed federal funding for the Rockhampton Ring Road, Walkerston Bypass, Mackay Ring Road, numerous community projects and, of course, Rookwood Weir, a project that took years of campaigning to make it a reality. Deputy Speaker, water is a priority in Central Queensland. Projects like Rookwood Weir near Rockhampton must go ahead to create long-term jobs. Rookwood Weir is estimated to deliver between 200 and 400 jobs through the 2 years of construction, while delivering an agricultural boom worth $1 billion per annum and over 2,000 permanent jobs once construction is completed. I have been buoyed by the willingness of this coalition government to front up with the money projects like this will require. Through the National Water Infrastructure Development Fund, millions have been committed to ensuring our dry continent can continue to not only be habitable but productive. While the Rookwood Weir project was one of the first to receive capital funding from the fund, dozens of other projects around the country received funding for the completion of feasibility studies. Many of these projects, like the Urana Dam, set high in the hills west of Mackay in the upper reaches of the Burdekin catchment, have since completed their feasibilities and are now attracting capital investment. I was proud during the recent election to join the Deputy Prime Minister and my colleague, the member for Dawson, in announcing $10 million for the final business case and crucial early works. With the election out of the way, I am confident we will soon see action on this major industry-enabling infrastructure, as long as the state Labor government can understand the message sent at May 18 and stop dragging their feet on these water projects. Rookwood Weir and Urana Dam are must-do projects for Central Queensland, and I believe the state government must do everything it can to see them underway as soon as possible. A considerable amount of time and effort was put into developing the case for projects like these, both locally and in Canberra, and I have to thank our local media, especially the editor of the Morning Bulletin, Fraser Pearce, for getting in behind us in our bid to make Rookwood Weir a reality. Each of us in this place owe some debt to our local media, and their devotion to what our local communities need is one of the things that keep each of us accountable to the people we represent. At time, what our region has needed most has not been a project of concrete and steel, but essential services to ensure regional families are fairly treated within our court system. I strongly lobbied the previous Attorney-General, George Brandis, to have a federal circuit court judge permanently located in what is the hub of the central Queensland region, Rockhampton. This new court circuit services our whole region by providing a physical presence on a rotational basis in Rockhampton, Emerald, Mackay and Gladstone, making the federal court far more accessible for those who need it. Another service that is needed more every year is improved rehabilitation services for those struggling with addiction. Substance addiction is a terrible scourge, and many in this place will have seen what a devastating impact it can have on families and whole communities. Central Queensland, like anywhere, has its struggle with substances, both legal and contraband. I am committed to delivering services that make a real difference for our community, which is why I was so proud to deliver a 2-year program to be based in Rockhampton. This 2-year scheme, delivered by Healthy Options Australia, is a non-residential 12-week program focused on breaking the insidious cycle of drug addiction. Rehabilitation services are crucial to ensure that people battling substance abuse have the support that they need to get their lives back on track, and I am proud to be part of a government which is taking real action on this issue. Deputy Speaker, it is through my real delivery every day that we have to reawaken the Capricornia region. I have secured funding for transformative local infrastructure that is either completed, underway or in the pipeline. A few of these projects are in the Western regions, $5 million to Signature on-farm beef for a processing facility and creating more jobs, with $25 million in additional NAIF funding. $325,000 to the Collinsville QCWA for a new community hall. $230,000 to the Clermont Kindergarten on a physical environmental upgrade. $105,000 to Queensland Healthcare Services to increase services in Clermont. In the Capricorn Coast, $10 million to Livingston Shire Council for the Yeppoon Foreshore Precinct and CBD revitalisation. $20 million to Keppel Bay Sailing Club for a 1,000-seat convention centre. $64 million for upgrades on the Rocky Yeppoon Road. $165 million towards the Shellwater Bay Military Training Facility. In Rockhampton, $25 million for the Rockhampton Levy Bank. $5 million for the Rockhampton Airport upgrade. $7 million for Rockhampton Hospital Car Park and $10 million for the Rockhampton Art Gallery. To the north, in Serena and South Mackay, almost $10 million to Central Queensland University for a world-class sporting precinct in Uralee. $250,000 to Linked Group Services for an off-grid showcase and funding for a satellite headspace in Serena. In Walkerston and the Pioneer Valley, $80 million for the Walkerston Bypass, $653,708 to West Tigers Leagues Club for undercover bowls green, $300,000 to Palmyra Dragway for track upgrades and repairs after Cyclone Debbie, and $50,000 for the Finch Hatton Emergency Airstrip. Deputy Speaker, as mentioned earlier, in August last year I was appointed as the Assistant Minister for Children and Families, and I'm so pleased that I am remaining in this portfolio. This government is firmly committed to ensuring that every Australian family and every Australian child is given the support that they need to be safe and to prosper. Of course, some major challenges exist in this portfolio, but I'm excited to be given an opportunity to enhance and build on the significant achievements that this government has delivered in this space. In January this year, I launched the 4th Action Plan of the National Framework for Protecting Australia's Children. The National Framework provides a long-term national approach to improving the way that we as a nation care for Australia's children and keep them safe. The 4th Action Plan has a strong focus on improving outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children who are either at risk of entering or are in contact with child protection services, with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children currently 10 times more likely to be in out-of-home care compared with non-Indigenous children. This focus is very important. Also outlined in the fourth action plan is improved data development and better information sharing between the Commonwealth, the states and territories, which includes measuring permanency outcomes for children in out-of-home care and new national indicators to monitor compliance with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander child placement principle. Funding has been committed for the start-up costs for a national child protection information system, and 7 of 10 sites have been announced for the $35 million Stronger Places, Stronger People initiative. This program takes an innovative and place-based approach with communities, one that harnesses local knowledge with the aim of smashing the cycle of childhood poverty. Stronger Places, Stronger People is something that I am particularly excited about, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this innovative can deliver. Currently, there are more than 45,800 Australian children in out-of-home care. This is simply not good enough. Every Australian child deserves a loving, permanent and stable home, and in my role I will do everything I can to make a positive difference in this space. Deputy Speaker, this is a government that is taking action against the horror of domestic and family violence. In April, we announced a $328 million package to reduce violence against women and children and to keep them safe. This is the fourth action plan of the National Plan to reduce violence against women and their children, and this $328 million figure is the largest ever Commonwealth investment on this issue. To stop violence against women, we need to counter the culture of disrespect towards women, and that's why, as part of this package, we're investing so heavily in prevention with more than $68 million to stop violence before it even begins. Clearly, this issue remains a huge challenge, but it's great to see that eliminating violence against women and children is one of this government's top priorities. Deputy Speaker, you may recall that I earlier mentioned that Capricornia has traditionally been a Labor-held electorate that appears to have changed. From being held on a 12.5% margin by the ALP at the 2007 election, the seat is now held at 11.5% margin, this time by the LNP. The same has been replicated across a number of other regional Queensland electorates. Those who call this region home surveyed their options and came to the conclusion that Labor simply didn't represent them anymore. I will always stand up for our region and for the jobs that our families rely on. I always have and always will stand up for our mining sector, and I won't apologise to the vegan soy latte-sipping activists who reside in capital cities who are disconnected from the people in regional Queensland and the challenges they face. Our capital cities simply won't exist without the tremendous wealth and resources that regions like Central Queensland create, and the time has come for our region to stand up to the self-absorbed patronising that we see from the south. Speaking of patronising from the south, it would be very remiss of me not to add a huge and well-deserved thank you to the sterling contribution of former Tasmanian Senator Bob Brown, whose efforts of lecturing throughout the coalfields of the Bowen and Galilee basins did not go unnoticed. Much more than that, the former senator's arrogance helped galvanise our region. Central Queenslanders were already growing tired of the hopelessly inept Labor state government's approach towards our primary industries, deliberately slowing down approvals for mining projects, including Adani's Carmichael mine, and the development blocking vegetation management legislation had many in Central Queensland feeling uncertain about their future. Enter Bob Brown and his merry contingent of misinformed climate crusaders, and what we saw was a great surge of support on the ground from the industries that feed us, clothe us, power our homes and pay our bills. Scenes in Clermont, ground zero for the Galilee Basin argument, were more like an inner-city day of action than a weekend in a true blue country town. I believe that there would have been more Central Queenslanders who in their own mind may not necessarily fully support expanding coal mining into the Galilee Basin. However, they stood up and they said no to the policy Puritans from the south. This event sparked a surge against political correctness and against the demeaning virtue signalling of so many who live their comfortable lives which are so removed from our primary industries. Central Queenslanders know which side their bread is buttered on, and they know what it is that makes our nation one of the wealthiest on the planet. It is our natural resources and agriculture sector, and that of everyday, hard-working people who put their shoulders to the wheel to produce them. This election result belongs to them because they are the ones brave enough and tough enough to do what it takes to build this nation to fulfil its potential. The forgotten people, the battlers, the quiet Australians, I salute you and I will continue to work hard every day for you. Capricornia has a great future and I am proud to be part of a government which continues to deliver for our